What if I told you that refrigerating some foods is actually ruining them? That's right. By simply placing certain items in the fridge, you might be destroying their flavor, texture, and even shortening their shelf life. In today's video, we're uncovering 6 common foods you should never refrigerate, and the reasons will surprise you. This is the kind of kitchen wisdom our grandparents lived by, and it's time we bring it back. Whether you're a seasoned cook or just trying to keep your groceries fresh, these tips can save you money and improve your meals. So stay tuned until the end, and if you care about your food and your family's health, hit that subscribe button for more time-tested tips every day. Number 1. Why you should never refrigerate tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of the most commonly misunderstood foods when it comes to storage. Many people toss them in the fridge without a second thought, thinking it's the best way to keep them fresh. But here's the truth. Refrigeration actually damages tomatoes. When stored in cold temperatures, tomatoes lose their natural flavor and aroma. The cold breaks down their cell walls, making them soft, mealy, and bland. What used to be a juicy, vibrant tomato becomes tasteless and dull. Our ancestors knew better. They kept tomatoes on the counter, allowing them to ripen naturally in room temperature. This not only preserved their taste, but also enhanced their nutritional value. If you want tomatoes that are full of flavor, store them stem side down on the counter, away from direct sunlight. Only refrigerate them if they're about to go bad, and even then, let them come back to room temperature before eating. These simple steps can change how your meals taste. So the next time you bring tomatoes home, skip the fridge and treat them the traditional way. You'll notice the difference, and your taste buds will thank you. Number 2. Why you should never refrigerate potatoes. Potatoes are a staple in kitchens around the world, but did you know refrigerating them can ruin both their flavor and texture? When you store potatoes in cold temperatures, the starch inside them begins to convert into sugar. This might not sound like a big deal, but it completely changes the taste. Your potatoes may end up oddly sweet. Not only that, but the sugars can caramelize too quickly during cooking, especially when frying or baking, giving them an uneven texture and taste. Cold storage also causes the skin to wrinkle and the insides to become gritty. Traditionally, potatoes were always kept in dark, dry cellars where the temperature stayed cool but never cold. That old-fashioned method still works best today. Keep them in a paper bag or a wooden crate in a dry pantry or cupboard. Avoid plastic bags. They trap moisture and lead to rot. And never store them next to onions, as they release gases that speed up spoilage. Respecting the way potatoes like to be stored not only keeps them fresh longer, but also brings out the best in every dish you prepare. Trust the old methods. They've stood the test of time. Number 3. Why you should never refrigerate onions. Refrigerating onions might seem harmless, but it actually causes more problems than it solves. When you put onions in the fridge, the moisture quickly softens their papery skin and encourages mold to grow. Instead of staying crisp and pungent, they become slimy and mushy. On top of that, the cold temperature disrupts their natural balance, changing the way they taste and cook. Whole onions need air circulation to stay dry and fresh, something they don't get in a sealed refrigerator drawer. The best place for them is a cool, dry, and well-ventilated spot like a basket or mesh bag in your pantry. It's the way our grandparents stored onions, and for good reason. It prevents premature sprouting and keeps them flavorful for longer. If you've already cut into an onion, then yes, wrap it tightly and refrigerate it. But for whole, unpeeled onions, steer clear of the fridge. By storing them properly, you're preserving not just their shelf life, but also the strong, sharp flavor that gives your meals character. Let's return to traditional kitchen habits that keep our food at its best, starting with something as simple as an onion. Number 4. Why you should never refrigerate garlic. Garlic is one of those humble ingredients that can transform a dish, but it demands the right kind of care. Refrigerating garlic may seem like a way to make it last longer, but in truth, it does the opposite. The cold environment of the fridge causes garlic bulbs to sprout quickly, turning them bitter and rubbery. Instead of that rich, earthy aroma we all love, refrigerated garlic develops a musty, off flavor. It also loses its texture and becomes spongy. That's why the best way to store garlic is the old way, out of the fridge. Keep whole bulbs in a dry, cool, and dark place with plenty of airflow. A mesh bag or an open bowl on the counter works just fine. Avoid sealed containers that trap moisture. Once broken apart, the cloves should still stay outside the fridge unless chopped or minced ahead of time. In that case, refrigerate them briefly in an airtight jar. But for the whole bulb, let it breathe. Traditional kitchens never kept garlic cold, and now you know why. Treat it right, and it will reward your meals with bold, classic flavor, just as nature intended. Number 5. Why you should never refrigerate bread. Bread is a symbol of comfort and tradition, but storing it in the refrigerator is one of the fastest ways to ruin it. While many people think refrigeration keeps bread fresh, it actually speeds up staling. Cold air causes the starch molecules in bread to crystallize much faster than at room temperature, turning your soft, fluffy loaf into a hard, dry brick. Instead of preserving it, the fridge dries it out. Traditionally, bread was always kept in bread boxes, wrapped in a cloth, or even covered with a simple towel. These methods protect it from air and light while allowing just enough moisture to keep it soft. For best results, store bread at room temperature if you plan to eat it within a few days. Want to keep it longer? Freeze it. Sliced bread freezes beautifully and can be toasted straight from the freezer. So don't let cold air steal the soul of your loaf. Follow the old way. Store it right, and your bread will stay delicious and satisfying, just as it should be. Number 6. Why you should never refrigerate honey. Honey is nature's perfect food, sweet, nutritious, and incredibly long-lasting. But one of the worst things you can do to it is put it in the refrigerator. Cold temperatures cause honey to crystallize, turning it thick, grainy, and difficult to use. While crystallized honey isn't spoiled and can be reversed by warming it gently, refrigeration makes the process happen much faster. Unlike many foods, honey is naturally resistant to bacteria and spoilage, thanks to its low moisture content and acidic pH. That's why it was stored in clay pots for centuries, lasting for years without ever going bad. Keep honey tightly sealed in a cool, dry cupboard, away from sunlight and heat. There's no need for fancy storage, just a simple glass or plastic jar with a tight lid will do. By storing honey the traditional way, you're protecting both its flavor and its health benefits. Let's honor what nature has already perfected. Remember, if it's good enough to last thousands of years without refrigeration, it certainly doesn't need your fridge now. Conclusion. By avoiding the fridge for these everyday foods, you're not just preserving taste, you're honoring time-tested wisdom passed down through generations. Modern convenience often leads us to overlook what truly works best, but the old ways still hold power. Keeping your tomatoes, potatoes, onions, garlic, bread, and honey stored properly brings out their natural goodness and extends their life. So before you reach for that refrigerator door, pause and remember. Sometimes, the simplest choices make the biggest difference. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more traditional tips that keep your kitchen and your health thriving.